The level of authoritarianism on Trisolaris would shock even our most infamous dictators. While they are ruled by a joint session of consuls, these are not typical administrators. Unlike Earth's Minister of Health, the Consul of Health on Trisolaris is effectively a minister of death. Their hospitals exist not to heal the weak, but to eliminate them. On the planet Trisolaris, empathy is not a virtue, it is a capital crime. This was proven in a single afternoon, when the government openly purged 6,000 of its own citizens, incinerating them all in the capital square. Their crime wasn't violence or treason, it was that they opposed the invasion of Earth. However, this wasn't cruelty, it was a cold calculation. The world of Trisolaris is an extreme experiment in civilization design, forged under the constant threat of annihilation. Its society represents absolute scientific authoritarianism, an order where survival is the sole moral good and every other value is expendable. After centuries of struggle, statistical analysis led Trisolaran leadership to a chilling conclusion. Societies that were emotionally suppressed and psychologically sterile demonstrated the highest long-term survival rates. As a result, emotions such as excitement, sadness, or personal aspiration were not merely discouraged, but systematically eradicated. Ethics are not debated, they are calculated. However, this merely scratches the surface of how brutal their government truly is. At the apex of Trisolaran civilization stands the Princeps, an emperor-like figure with absolute and unquestioned authority over the entire species. Because of the planet's violent environmental volatility, the Princeps is housed within a colossal, pyramid-like structure designed to shield him from sudden temperature catastrophes and planetary chaos. Although the Princeps has final authority on all major decisions, Trisolaris is operationally governed by the consuls. These consuls function as ministers, each responsible for a specific domain of civilization, like science and education, or security and culture. Despite their titles, however, the consuls have only one mandate: ensure the survival of Trisolaran civilization at any cost. And that cost is often staggering. It twisted the Trisolaran society into a series of institutional absurdities. The Consul of Education is, in practice, the director of censorship. History, art, and philosophy are strictly forbidden. Their schools exist not to teach knowledge, but to raise servants. The police is not there to prevent crime, but to prevent betrayal. The Consul of Culture is probably the most inverted. His sole responsibility, ironically, is the suppression of culture. It is treated as a destabilizing force, capable of introducing dangerous emotional variants into the population. That's because absolute discipline is the defining virtue of Trisolaran existence. However, when Ye Wenjie's message first arrived on Trisolaris, something happened that shocked the entire leadership to the very core. The initial shock was not merely that the first listener betrayed Trisolaris by responding. The true horror for the leadership was the discovery that more than 6,000 listeners had quietly aligned with him against the official doctrine. Until that moment, the ruling elite believed their dominion over the population to be mathematically flawless. What the leadership had underestimated was exposure. The listeners did not receive only one transmission. They gained access to information about Earth, its culture, its art, and its humanity. To a Trisolaran raised in total servitude, stripped of emotion and individuality, Earth appeared like a dream, a kind of distant paradise, a civilization where meaning extended far beyond survival. The idea of destroying such a world just felt wrong, even to beings whose emotions and dreams had been relentlessly suppressed. At the end of the day, Trisolarans are a sentient species, not a machine, and sentience cannot be fully extinguished. The leadership's response was immediate and merciless. All 6,000 listeners were publicly executed, burned alive in the center of the capital. The message was unmistakable. Empathy itself was treason. During the creation of the Sophons, the Council of Science warned the Princeps that such a process could destroy many civilizations trapped in lower dimensions. When asked whether this information should be concealed from the public, fearing opposition, the Princeps responded,
"I will order the Propaganda Council to repeatedly publicize this scientific fact."
Why? Is it to prepare the people for possible destruction of Trisolaris?
No. It's to encourage them to face the destruction of Earth with equanimity.
Even before the Sophons were completed, the Princeps authorized the controlled transfer of limited technological blueprints to the ETO, which is the Trisolaran organization on Earth, ran by human followers. These technologies enabled them to perform so-called miracles, events designed to undermine human trust in science and fracture Earth's intellectual foundations. Once the ETO constructed a transmission facility entirely under their control, vast quantities of information about Earth began flowing back to Trisolaris. Even the Trisolaran leadership admitted that human civilization possessed immense appeal.
To our people, it sounds like sacred music from heaven.
Humanism, empathy, and cultural richness threatened to become a corrosive force on Trisolaris, just as Trisolaran ideology had already become a kind of religion on Earth. The leadership recognized a symmetrical danger. Civilizations are contagious. The conclusion was inevitable. Information from Earth, especially cultural information, had to be strictly controlled. Exposure could not be allowed to erode the emotional sterility upon which the Trisolaran survival depended. Just as Evans was so enchanted by nature that he came to value it more than his own species, to a Trisolaran listener, our world was like a paradise. Where they have no word for love, we paint it in poetry. Where they erase history, we treasure it in museums. Where they eliminate the weak, we build ramps and elevators. When the Trisolaran Princeps demands an explanation for why he committed the ultimate act of treason by secretly warning Earth, the reply is neither political nor logical. It is deeply personal. So that my life has meaning. How many get the chance to save another world? Two very different beings from two entirely different planets, yet both sharing the same belief. Both were born into cold, utilitarian systems that left little room for wonder or compassion. Evans grew up surrounded by corporate ambition and mechanized efficiency, where life was measured in quarterly profits and environmental damage was just a line item. The listener was born into a society where individuality had been stripped away, where emotion was a liability, and where survival at any cost was the only moral compass. Though separated by an ocean of interstellar space, in temperament and philosophy, they are the same type of individual. We blame Evans for betraying humanity, yet we fail to see the bigger picture, that without individuals like him, Earth would never even have a chance. If personality like Evans didn't exist in the universe, we would never receive the warning from the listener. And without that warning, the ETO would never exist. And without ETO, we'd learn about the Trisolarans and their invasion only months, if not days, before it happened. Too late to react in any meaningful way. Too late for the wall-facers, and too late for any real plan of action. In the dark forest, every civilization assumes that silence is survival, and that the first strike is the only option. It is a universe where the safest path is invisibility, and where even the purest gesture of peace must be read as a trap. Every signal, every attempt at contact, carries the shadow of annihilation. To speak is to risk destruction, and so silence becomes the law of existence. Yet hidden within every civilization are outliers, individuals who don't fit the pattern, who resist the machinery of cold calculation. They are unpredictable, difficult to control, and their choices defy the logic of survival. Because of them, the dark forest might not be absolute. We call them traitors, those who value something beyond the demands of their own species or nation. But on the cosmic scale, they may be something far more vital, the only source of balance, the only counterweight to a universe built on suspicion. A Trisolaran who sabotages his own kind to protect a fragile blue world he has never seen. A human who betrays his people, not for power or conquest, but for the sake of something as fleeting as a bird. Each of these acts is small, almost invisible in a forest full of hunters. Alone, they seem meaningless, lost in the immensity of space. And yet, they reveal themselves as a corrective force. While all surviving civilizations choose silence, a few individual voices will still whisper. Although they can't negate the darkness of the forest, they may cause enough cracks for exceptions to the rule to seep through. To find out more about the three-body problem universe, this playlist explores many aspects that are often misunderstood. It's a growing collection, with new videos added over time.